There we go. Hey, everybody. I was like, I couldn't see myself. It was like the freakiest thing. I'm like, I was like, where am I? I was looking on Periscope and it was like this completely dark screen, which I did not understand. So, hey, everybody. Happy day after Labor Day. I was talking to another girlfriend of mine who's an entrepreneur, and it was so funny because we're like, I think that we take this Labor Day thing too literally. Like, we are seriously like laboring on Labor Day. Hey, come on. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm sorry. Kamichi? Maybe? Kamki is a business and wealth expert. Hey, Mike, how are you? And so we've been talking about media because as a professional, a media professional, I've been in the business for like 20 years, and Danielle has utilized the media to build her business. So I wanted, hey, Ross, how are you from Pet Peeps? Good to see you. It's been a year. And so I wanted Danielle to join me so we could talk about what the media can do for your business. Hey, Danielle.
And we have on that revolutionary black this morning. Baby, that's the go-to, right? Huh?
But you pearled it out. I don't like, people always like, well, why don't you wear necklaces? And I was like, I feel like they choke me. So, but I got to get better about that because you look so pretty.
Well, I don't wear chokers.
Okay.
They disappear.
I don't like anything around my neck at all.
Yeah, it's temporary. Hey, Tanya May. Hey, Felita. Hey, guys. I hope you guys are doing amazing. So thank you once again, Nikki, for having me. If you guys have not signed up for the webinar that we're having on Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, who signed up, who is not signed up, bit.ly/cost, C-O-S-T of fame. Let me see who has not signed up. Tell the truth now. Hey, Powerhouse Cassandra. Hey, guys.
Hey, Katrina. Hey, Brian. Hey, Cassandra. So
hey, Rochelle.
So there are people on Periscope, and everybody's starting to kind of ask questions already. Hey, Ramona. So today we just wanted to talk a little bit about why, as a business or a brand, whether it's an author, speaker, entrepreneur, why you really need the media.
A business, a brand, a book, a ministry. One thing I tell my clients when they're working to build their tribe or their community or their family, whatever you want to call it, is that it can't just be an idea or a product or service. It has to be a movement. If you look at things that have been movements over the years, you look at the civil rights movement and you look at the women's suffrage movement, those things really brought people out and they really made change. Even the Black Lives Matter movement, the Blue Lives Matter movement, all of those were the things that people tend to remember and people tend to join. So if you're looking to create a movement, one of the things that was instrumental, especially in the civil rights movement, remember, they didn't have no Twitter. Martin couldn't tweet people and be like, meet me in the courtyard. You know, Malcolm couldn't get on Facebook and talk about, you know, the revolution will not be televised. And one of the reasons he even said televised was because media and television, print, and journalism and you know, print media is what forwarded those movements. So if you want to create a movement, which is a following of people that belong, that have the same like mind that you do, they believe in the same cause that you do. If you want to create a movement, you must have media.
Absolutely. And it's so funny that you say, like, you know, that the movement will not be televised or heard on radio. I mean, one of the things that I loved about working with Tom is because he was, you know, he started during the civil rights movement. I mean, he grew up during it and he became passionate about radio because radio and television were key for especially African Americans to learn what was going on, to join the movement, to be all a part of it. So I think that media really is exciting for the movement, and often it's at the forefront. Somebody on Periscope asked for the link for the website again. It's bit.ly/cost of fame. I appreciate everybody that's joined and shared. If you haven't shared this information with your colleagues or your community or your tribe, we would appreciate the share so that people will know about this. Because one of the things that both Danielle and I are passionate about is helping people change not just their business, but their way of life.
And I'm extremely passionate about helping people change their wallet and their financial situation. And the media is one of the things, I mean, of the tips we have today, the media helps you make more money, Because one of the things that I know, especially women, we struggle with, I don't know about you men folks, but we women, we struggle with our pricing and really charging our worth. And if you haven't shared the video, thank you, Tequila, for reminding people to share the video. Definitely, Mike, spread this to your colleagues. But as we struggle with charging our worth, one thing you'll find is that the more reputable media establishments that you can connect yourself to, the more people will see the value in what you do. You know, if you're listed in, hey, DePaul, that's my makeup artist. Hey, DePaul, we got video shoots planned over the next couple of days. That's the doll. Give it to him, baby, the doll. The more you're going to find that it increases even your confidence. Would you agree with that, Nikki? I mean, if you're listed in Essence and Cosmo and Redbook and all of these amazing places, you start to say to yourself, man, well, maybe I am worth charging what the quote unquote big boys charge.
And that really is like the number one reason that I think that media is so important for your business or brand, because it is that third party endorsement. It lends that automatic credibility, because any platform like CNN, MSNBC, Black Enterprise, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, if they put you on their platform, then it means that they must somehow believe in what you're doing too. And it's just that automatic credibility. So it's really important, because you kind of have to stop introducing yourself, because people can kind of, look at this and say, oh, she's been in Oprah, in the Oprah magazine, the O magazine. Oh, she's been on this. Oh, he's been on that. Then you don't really have to make those introductions anymore.
I mean, and Oprah used to be the quintessential you've made it platform.
Absolutely.
Girl, I've been on Oprah. Once you've been on Oprah, once your book's been featured, or once your product's been featured on a list of Oprah's favorite things, like that is an immediate sold out type of environment. But not everybody knows how to get that type of media, or any type of media for that fact, which leads me to one of the questions today, which is how many of you have even been featured even on the front page of your local news magazine, or the front page of your variety section of your news magazine? How many of you have experienced any major media at all? If you could say me, that would be great, because that leads us into, if you're not, thank you, Beverly, for signing up already. If you've not experienced that type of media and you're really looking to grow your brand, make sure you go sign up for our free webinar on Thursday at 9 p.m., bit.ly/cost of fame, so that you can really start to get a glimpse into what the pricing looks like for major media coverage. And so you can get some ideas on what you could do independently to get the coverage that you need to take you to the next level.
Yeah, and you know what, I think it's interesting because you're right. I mean, Oprah, and not just Oprah, but other major platforms. I mean, up until, recently, I mean, like 15 years ago, I mean, there were such gatekeepers when it came to these big media platforms, and it was really hard. I mean, they really had to know who they wanted, and it was really about getting a publicist and getting pitched by people who already had these amazing connections. And now, because of social media and some other things, and just the constant need for content, they're looking for the authorities. They're looking for the experts. They're looking for the people that are heading the movements. And so it really is important that you're doing the things to strategically place you in a position to be picked by the media, and to give the media an easier yes when you pitch them. And so it can be done, absolutely. But you really have to have a plan in place. You have to have a process. You have to have certain systems, and you have to have certain strategies in order to get it done.
And Nikki, one thing I like about the 1-2 combination that we bring to the table is we're like the best of both worlds. I'm like balling on a budget, and Nikki's with the contacts. So you not only have somebody who's done it on a shoestring, you also have Nikki who's been on the other side and, rubbed elbows with these artists and with these celebrities. And, the Tom Joyner Morning Show brings in no shortage of major guests, like icons, and then those real-time heroes that we see all over the news. They do a great job of bringing in a mix of the two. So Nikki's seen it all from her side, and I've seen a glimpse from my side. So no, I think that again, if you're not registered for Thursday, don't miss it. It gives us an opportunity to sit still with you and provide you with some tips that are really going to help you shape your understanding of, again, why media is so important for you to build your business, your brand, your book, your ministry, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I thought it was great that you brought up the fact that women don't really price according to their value. They price according to what they think is acceptable. Another great thing about the media is that once you have established that credibility, you absolutely can raise your prices. Hey Toya, welcome back to Dallas. I'm glad. Toya is like the fly hairdresser. She's like the fly jock of hair. So she flies back and forth between Dallas and Chicago, making sure everybody looks good. So welcome back to Dallas, honey. And so you can absolutely raise your prices and you can charge what you're worth. And because you have that added visibility that the media brings, you really don't have a shortage of clients. So it's not there's no fear there about whether or not there's going to be somebody there to pay the price that you're asking, because you have this steady stream of clients that have heard you and know and recognize the value that you bring to the table.
And one thing that always amazes me, Nikki, that if you ask any business owner, hey, what are your top 3 priorities? What are your top 4 priorities? The majority of them would say to grow my brand. But they don't utilize the media in the way that they should be to grow their brand. A lot of them are either, you think social media is going to do it all for you. And I'll be honest with you, print, television, media is not dead. Now, those cable companies are having a hard time because, you got Hulu and Roku and Apple TV and all of those guys out there. So they're not bringing in the advertising budget that they used to. But television programming in and of itself, and these celebrities that television programming is creating, it's not dead at all. Talk shows are not going anywhere. They may take a different form, but they're definitely not going anywhere.
Now, I agree. And Joe, you're right. Netflix is causing some major damage too. But it was interesting. I was surfing the web yesterday, and I saw like 3 different posts from journalists who were looking for content because it was slow on Labor Day. And literally they just posted on Facebook, anybody got any good stories out there? Because I got nothing. And so there's always this need, especially during slower times like holidays, there's always this need for experts and authorities that have great stories. So you have to step up there.
I think that's what people miss too, is that journalists are very much opportunistic. They're somewhat methodical, but for the most part, they're always under the gun as it relates to production. And I know, Nikki, you can relate to this because they've got to keep their stories relevant. You can't plan what you're going to put on the news a year early. The news is going to go on, but you can't say, oh, a year from now, I'm going to put Hurricane Harvey on the news station, 7 days a week for 10 days in a row. You can't do that. So they have to work within the windows that they're given. And me and Nikki want to work with you to make sure that you're prepared, that when they come for you, you're ready.
Absolutely.
Because you're either ready or you're not. And I think there's a quote that says, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So it's about being lucky.
Absolutely. And the thing about, the time that we're in now, I mean, it used to be where there was like a 9 to 5 news cycle. People went to bed. They didn't care, but that is not the truth. We are on a 24-hour news cycle now. So that means that they are looking to fill content at all hours of the day, whether it's breaking or not. So, I mean, you can, I don't know if you have notifications on your phone, but I'll get a notification from MSNBC or CNN, and, that all these things are happening. It could be in the middle of the night. So if you think about that and you think about all of the other media outlets that are out there, like the internet radio shows and the internet television stations and all of the, I mean, everybody, it's just a constant need for content.
And Nikki, one thing I know is that a lot of us,
I don't know if you,
what'd you say?
Well, you were frozen drinking your coffee or your tea. And so I was asking you what you were drinking.
Girl, that's coffee, girl. I'm still trying to get up. I'm still trying to get up off of that barbecue yesterday. But a lot of us don't know And this is another thing Nikki and I are going to be teaching you in our upcoming class that starts on September 19th. A lot of us don't know how to frame ourselves to be relevant in any situation.
Right.
You're a florist, and so the only pitch you're making to the media is flowers. You don't know how to make yourself relevant if they're talking about Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
You don't know how to make yourself relevant if they're talking about snow cones or picnics. You don't know how to make yourself relevant. So that's something we're going to be working with you directly to help you learn. And if you want to learn more about our upcoming workshop, make sure you join us on Thursday. This coming Thursday, bit.ly/cost, COST of fame, as we get more into our upcoming course. And again, why it's so imperative that you take advantage of that course before the price increases. Because once we get some fame, girl, we're going to raise our price. This is our beta course together. Yes. But once this course goes viral, guess what we're going to do? We're going to up the price.
Hey,
you better get it in now.
Thanks for sharing, Toya May. Anna Hawthorne Harris, thank you for joining in. If that's what you need help with, make sure that you sign up with the webinar. And one thing that I tell clients all the time, because it's not even just, you know, being relevant to a certain story, it's being relevant to different audiences. So, you know, the Dr. Phil audience is a lot different than the Tom Joyner audience, which is a lot different than the CNN audience. And even though your information may be essential to all audiences, you have to frame it in a way that makes sense to that audience. So I tell people all the time, like, you know, for the Tom Joyner Morning Show, when we were booking, we had to be very, hey, Wayne, I'm great. How are you, honey? We had to be very careful about booking experts that, as I call them, and I think I got it from my daddy, I'm not sure, but as I call them, are highbrow, which means that they would talk above our audience. It doesn't mean that their information wasn't relevant. It just wasn't delivered in a way that connected with our audience. And you have to be very careful about that as well. Hey, Brenda on Periscope, good to see you. So you have to, so there's a way and there's a constant need for you to be pitching yourself so that you can connect with these different media outlets. But as Danielle said, it's kind of a process and a rhythm and a flow that you need to learn and understand. And we want to make sure that you have that. So going into 2018, that you are getting the visibility you need for your business.
And hi, El Marie. El Marie said, what's the address again? It's B as in boy, it.ly/cost of fame. If someone would type it in for me, COSTOFFAME. But Nikki's absolutely right. You don't know what you don't know. And the whole movement that I'm involved in and happy to be partnering with Nikki on this initiative is about educating people about how to get that next level without always having to spend next level revenue.
Right.
How to get that next level and, you know, utilizing knowledge. I tell people all the time, you don't have a money problem. You have a knowledge problem. So you don't have a media problem. You have a knowledge problem. You don't know how to get in front of the right media. And as she was speaking about highbrow, that, you know, the way you do a presentation, especially for speakers, it's critical that you learn this. The way you do a presentation for, say, the Harvard Business Review or U.S. News and World Reports, where you would be primarily numbers, would be totally different than you did a segment for the local paper. And how much of your stuff gets printed relies heavily on how well you deliver to who they know their target audience is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you, I mean, that's essential, especially with print articles, because they get so much information from you. And then they have such a length of time, you know, they have much longer to edit it and to perfect it and to really put in the nuggets of good information. So if you're not connecting with their audience, then you may lose, you know, the visibility that you want to get from that article. So you want to make sure that you're delivering content in a way that it speaks to their audience. And that's about researching and learning. And like I said, the process is there. You just have to ask for it. And you can do that by joining our webinar.
So guys, how many of you feel like print media or television media, whether it's local, regional, or national, I can be honest with you with this question, but I'm gonna ask you for your point of view. Hey Ashley, how many of you think this would help expand your brand? If you could type me into the chat, if you think print media, if you think that television media would help expand your brand, type me in the chat. And as you guys are typing me, Lewis had a question. He said, I saw an interview with a major media mogul. He said his company looks for great content. How would one establish visibility of that content? Is having your brand site within the first 5 results of Google a major priority in order to be seen? No, your SEO optimization is for your clients to see you. So when your clients go out and Google you, that's what that first 5 results of Google is for. As it relates to the TV and the print media, how do you get visibility for them? That's what Nikki and I are going to be teaching you in the upcoming weeks with our webinar, where we talk about different types of media, as well as with our upcoming course, where we get you prepared to be in front of the right type of media and understand what is the type of content that you need to put out in order to be as Nikki calls it, magnetic for the media.
Yeah, and see, and I think I disagree just a little bit, or I'll add something to that. I mean, I think it is the first 5, being on the first page of Google, and if you haven't Googled yourself recently, you really should Google yourself to see where you are. But if the media is doing a blind search, so say they want a wealth expert based in Houston, and they Google it, wealth expert based in Houston, 9 times out of 10, Danielle will probably pop up. And that's what you want. So, but the way you place the content, as Danielle said, when you're looking to be magnetic to the media, is just a little bit different. So we'll teach you some of those strategies, but you definitely want to make sure that you're popping up in different search results. So when the media does a blind search, that they do find you.
And then Nikki, I think that's kind of 2 different things. I think that's the difference between being aggressive and being passive. You know, letting them find you or going to find them. Yeah. So I think we're both right, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course.
But just 2 different ways of, you would say, okay, I'm going to sit back and let the media find me, versus, well, if you got a name like Dwayne Johnson, you may have to fight for a competition with The Rock, but are you an actor? And if not, your SEO tags for your website content needs to be what Dwayne Johnson are you? Because Dwayne Johnson, the actor, is not going to come up with a life coach tag. And Dwayne Johnson, the actor, is not going to come up with a financial advisor tag. So it's about positioning yourself in front of the media so that you do come up with the right associations. But yeah, Nikki's way is, hey, I'm the expert. I'm coming up in the Google search. People are going to reach out to me. Baby, I started at the bottom like Drake. And so I know I wasn't coming up in nobody's Google when I first got here.
I'm not saying that everybody, no.
I wasn't coming up in nobody's Google.
Don't make me come to Houston. I'm not saying that you should sit back and wait for the media, but I'm saying that there are times when, as a journalist, I did not have an expert that I knew. So I would Google it. No, you should constantly pitch yourself. Don't ever sit back and wait for anything. But if you want to get that random journalist that's looking for a story and they're just Googling people because they don't have an expert at hand, then you want to make sure that you're the expert that comes up that they may be looking for. That's all I'm saying. I'm not ever suggesting that anybody should sit back and wait for anything, Danielle.
I know, since I'm
So somebody asked on Periscope the date and the time of the webinar. It's this Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. 9 p.m. Central. And the link again is bit.ly/costoffame.
And if you haven't registered, you got to ask yourself, how bad do I really want this media thing? I think a lot of you may be reluctant to register because that means that people are going to start looking at your stuff. And if you've been dragging your feet getting your stuff done, you need to get your stuff done now. Because when the media come a calling, they are going to judge you based on how your stuff look.
No, they absolutely are. I mean, part of my role as a producer was to make sure that when I put somebody on the air that they were who that they said that they were, because you'll get that too. Two, that they could deliver upon the promise that they said that they could deliver, and that they weren't going to embarrass us, because trust me, if I don't Google it, my listeners will, because they're like 10 times more skeptical than I am.
We look up folks all the time.
And now with social media, we know when somebody has found out something about you that you did not share. So really, you really have got to have everything together.
That was too funny, but that was true. When you said, you know, when's the last time you Googled yourself? You got to know what's out there. And that's right, Samara. Time to clean it up.
Absolutely.
And get it right. It's really time to clean up and get it right. Especially, and we already talked about this, when you're talking about just the average publicist charges $10,000 to $15,000. That, you know, we're our workshop is nowhere near that price point, and geared to get you just as much media and just as much exposure. So you got to say to yourself, how much is this exposure really worth to me?
Right. And how bad do you want to change your business? A lot of us say we want to change it, but then we don't do the things that we need to do to change it. And we don't take it upon ourselves to get the knowledge from the experts. We try to figure it out on our own. And not only is that going to cost you a lot of time, but it could cost you more money than you really need to pay. And it could cost you in billable hours and other things that you can be doing to bring money into your business. So there's a lot at stake, I think. And going into 2018, I mean, it really is. People are really starting to make some noise, and you have to figure out the ways that are going to make you stand out. And, you know, people can say that they've been on CNN, but it's not a lot of people. And so that would definitely distinguish you, you know, from a competitor. And that's what you want. You want every edge that you could possibly have to make you stand out.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't, if you're serious about your next level, you can't take this lightly.
No.
If you're serious about the people that you're put here to serve, if you know for a fact that there are thousands and thousands of people waiting on you to move, then you can't keep waiting. You've got to show up in a way that's going to help them move to where they want to be and where they can serve. So.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting when things happen like Hurricane Harvey, and you see like how precarious life can be, and how quickly, you know, everything that you have can be gone in an instant. I mean, even now, I mean, I think more so than ever, we all have to step up, because you know, not only were personal, you know, possessions, you know, and lives destroyed, but businesses were destroyed, and people are going to need services. They're going to need experts. They're going to need all of this stuff to come. And so, and it's going to continue for a while. So, you know, really offering your services to people and stepping up, I think, is even more important now.
Yeah. You know, this whole thing has been extremely stressful, extremely tiring. And then to see, you know, Irma headed to Florida, that's crazy, you know. But yeah, you have to make sure that your business, and they're even talking about in the media now, there's still homes with like a foot or two of water from the roof. Can't even imagine.
From the roof.
I can't even imagine. But yeah, there's the media, it does what it wants to do. And you have to learn how, somebody typed the link that you're seeing for me for Fred. You have to learn how to use that never ending broadcast that they do in the media to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Any questions,
and you know
Nikki?
What? It becomes, huh?
I was just asking if anybody had any questions. Go ahead.
No, if you have any questions. I mean, and I think it's become such a boring news cycle in this whole Trump administration era that people now, I think, are over it. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, we're going to report on the presidential we're going to report on what's going on in the White House, and in the world. But I think that they're also looking for different stories to add, you know, and break up the monotony of it. And so I'm constantly having producers. Don Lemon called me the other day, and he's working on a story, and he wanted to know if I had some, you know, anybody that would be interested in you know, and good for the story. So they're looking for ways to break things up. So I think it's interesting, and the right time to really, you know, step up with all of your expertise.
You know, Nikki, that's amazing. what's the word I'm looking for? Not jaded, but we've become desensitized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Trump first sent them first few tweets, we was running around here losing our mind. Now he can tweet whatever, and we're just so over it. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity. And Gerald, we're not selling anything. We're offering you an opportunity to come and learn how to get your brand in the media. The workshop is Thursday. It's a free webinar. bit.ly/cost of fame. COSTOFFAME. So guys, do you guys have any questions before we sign off? Questions, comments?
See, we're talking about media and how you can use the media to build your business or your brand. So I was in the media for 20 years, and Danielle has effectively used the media to build her business. And so we are offering you the opportunity to participate in a webinar that we're doing that's free, so you can learn how to do the same for your business. I'm just interested. Have you all been featured in any major media? If anybody has, I would love to know. Lynette, it is bit.ly/cost of fame, COSTOFFAME, and it's all lowercase. So it is case sensitive. It's all lowercase. Amisha, will what be on the website? The webinar or the video or the link?
You can go to that link right there, Amisha, to register. bit.ly/cost, COST of fame.
Shannon, you're funny.
You're welcome, Sarah. Thank you for your time as well. Yes, Shannon, say woohoo.
Yeah.
Yes. If you've not
happy
signed up, don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Glad you got it, honey. So any last questions before we sign off? I'm really excited.
Couple questions. Oh. Valisha said, what is one thing that can hinder you with media? I'm just not being prepared. We talked about that the other day, your social media platform not lining up like it should based on who you said you are.
Hey, Phil. Good to see you.
Tamara said, if you're building a brand currently and growing an audience, is it possible to be considered an expert? Absolutely.
Yeah, either you're an expert or you're not. It's just the visibility is whether people know you or not. It's
exactly.
So, yeah, you can be an expert, and there's different ways to be experts. I mean, you can be an expert through schooling. Hey, Joe on Periscope, thanks for typing in the link, but there's no spaces between cost of fame. It's just all together. So you can be an expert through education, meaning you have a PhD or a master's or your degree in something. You can be an expert because you've worked in a certain industry for a long time. And you can also be considered an expert just because of an experience that you've had. So there's a lot of different ways to be considered an expert. But yeah, you can be an expert and just be sitting in your house by yourself. You want people to know that you're an expert.
Absolutely. Valisha said, how long before using media did you notice an increase in your business? It wasn't just about the increase in your business. I remember one of the first times I was featured in a major publication. I was featured in Essence magazine, and actually my article ran in the same article with April Franks Hunt.
Oh,
and
really?
Me and April knew each other. Yeah, me and April knew each other,
nice.
But neither one of us knew that we were being interviewed for Essence. We were both, it was an article about loss, and she talked about losing her job, and I talked about losing my husband. But they paralleled the two different articles and combined it into one article. So when it ran, when we got the preview, we called each other like, oh my God, girl, we both gonna be in Essence. And that's one of the things that started giving me the confidence to say, well, if I can be recognized by this major media platform, by this institution, then I'm doing something right. And it allowed me the mentality to start to increase my prices.
Yeah, I think that you can, honestly, if you don't see an immediate change somewhere, then you didn't do the interview right. So you may not necessarily see an increase in your revenue immediately, but you should see an increase in your visibility, meaning you're getting more you know, hits on your website, or you've gained some followers on social media, I mean, your brand should certainly expand in some sort of way. So you should be able to measure the results of any interview that you do, you know, immediately. So it, you know, there are a lot of
If you
different
do,
ways
and
that
I
you
think
can,
that goes back to what you said, Nikki, if you do it right. And
if you do it right.
I don't think everybody knows how to do an interview in a
Right.
way that is going to drive traffic to your website, to your product, to your books, to your services, or whatever the outcome is that you desire. I don't think a lot of people even know to have upfront goals as to what do I want out of this interview.
No, I
And
know a
that's
lot
something
of
we're going to be
people
teaching you
don't know
guys.
how to do it correctly.
They
I'm
don't. You
clear.
so happy you've been on the Steve Harvey show that you don't care if you didn't get any new clients from it. So.
Yeah. No, I know that a lot of people, not only do they not know to have, like you said, an upfront goal and clear call to action. I mean, they just don't know how to do an interview. So, I mean, an interview workshop is like a whole different thing. I mean, there's so many different intricacies, especially if you are not like a Beyonce where people are just wowed by you showing up. I mean,
Right.
just for us regular, everyday, you know, well, not regular, but just for us everyday experts, because I'm regular. Right, I'm not regular. But just for everyday experts, I mean, you really have to show up and bring some sort of value. But that's strategic as well, because you want to maximize the impact of any and every interview that you've done. Hey, Martha.
And you're absolutely right, Martha.
Absolutely.
What gets measured gets done. What you focus on changes. And so, no, we're not going to discuss all of these skills on Thursday. We do have this thing chunked down because Rome wasn't built in a day, and you're not going to get media exposure in a day. So we have these things broken down for a course that we're starting on September 19th. But you can join us Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time as we start the first part of educating you about how to get media.
Absolutely. And I am super excited. I mean, this is like one of my favorite things to talk about. And Danielle is like one of my favorite people. And it's just going to be a ton of fun. Oh, this is going to be a ton of fun. So we really hope to see you there.
All right, guys. Well, we want you to think about what questions you have for us. We'll definitely be on here Thursday afternoon talking to you about getting more media, more bang for your buck with media. If you've not signed up, make sure you go to bit.ly/cost, COST of fame. Well, we're going to have some exciting stuff to share with you on Thursday.
Exciting. All right. See you guys. Bye, Danielle. Have a good day.
Bye, Nikki. Thank you.